What if everything you thought you knew about the British royal family was about to change in an instant? Just moments ago, Buckingham Palace made a bombshell announcement that's set to shake the monarchy to its core. What could this revelation mean for the future of the royal family? And how will it affect their already fragile relationship with the British public? With the monarchy grappling with decades of public scrutiny and scandal, is this the bold move they needed to stay relevant, or is it the final misstep before their decline? Let's dive into details. The announcement came like a thunderclap, cutting through the routine calm of British life. Within moments, news outlets buzzed with speculation, social media exploded with opinions, and the public's curiosity morphed into unease. This wasn't just another royal statement about charity work or a new initiative. The weight of its delivery suggested something much more profound. To understand the gravity of this announcement, it's crucial to consider the context that has led to this moment. Over the past several years, the royal family has been under intense scrutiny. Scandals, internal rifts, and shifting public sentiment have chipped away at the once unshakable facade of the monarchy. From the grandeur of Buckingham Palace to the whispers behind closed doors, cracks have emerged, exposing vulnerabilities that were once unthinkable. For decades, the monarchy had been seen as a pillar of British tradition, a symbol of continuity in a rapidly changing world. But times were changing too quickly, even for this ancient institution. The world has watched the monarchy weather numerous storms, from the fallout of Prince Andrew's legal troubles to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's dramatic departure from royal duties. These events didn't just challenge the family's internal dynamics. They questioned its very relevance in a modern democratic society. In 2020, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's decision to step away from their senior roles marked the first major shift in public perception. Branded as a betrayal by some and a bold act of independence by others, their departure brought long-simmering tensions into the spotlight. It was no longer a secret that not everything behind the gilded gates was as perfect as it seemed. Their revelations of feeling unsupported and isolated within the royal fold struck a chord with many, further dividing public opinion about the institution's purpose in today's world. As if this wasn't enough, Prince Andrew's ties to Jeffrey Epstein ignited one of the most damaging controversies in royal history. Legal battles, public outrage, and his eventual withdrawal from public duties dealt a significant blow to the monarchy's credibility. The royal family's attempts to distance themselves from the scandal couldn't stop the damage from seeping into public consciousness. These events were not just isolated incidents. They reflected deeper issues within the institution. And then there's the tension between Prince William and Prince Harry, a storyline that has captivated audiences worldwide. Once inseparable brothers, their relationship became a symbol of the monarchy's struggle to maintain unity. The public watched as family grievances played out on global platforms, with interviews, memoirs, and documentaries adding fuel to the fire. What was once seen as a family rift soon became a reflection of the challenges the royal family faces in keeping up with the times. In the midst of these crises, the public began asking harder questions. Could the monarchy truly modernize, or was it doomed to remain a relic of the past? Would the younger generation of royals, led by Prince William and Kate, be able to rebuild trust, or was the institution's fate already sealed? These were not easy questions, and the answers seemed to grow murkier with each new revelation. Against this backdrop of growing uncertainty, today's announcement feels like the culmination of years of tension. It isn't just another moment of royal intrigue. It's a turning point, a pivotal moment that could redefine how the world sees this centuries-old institution. While the content of the announcement is still sinking in, one thing is clear: the monarchy is at a crossroads. The very essence of its existence, tradition, stability, and public trust, is now under the microscope. The timing of this announcement raises its own set of questions. Why now, when the monarchy is already facing such intense scrutiny? Could it be a preemptive move to control a narrative spiraling out of their hands? Or is it a desperate attempt to stay relevant in an era where traditional institutions struggle to find their place? Whatever the reason, it's clear that this announcement will send ripples far beyond Buckingham Palace. What's remarkable is how the monarchy has survived centuries of upheaval and change. Wars, abdications, and scandals have tested its resilience time and again. But as the world evolves, the challenges facing the royal family today are unlike any before. The global media's relentless scrutiny and the rise of social platforms mean that no detail, however minor, escapes public attention. Every action, every word, and every misstep is dissected and debated in real time. This relentless focus has also amplified public dissatisfaction. Increasingly, people are questioning whether the monarchy still serves a purpose. In an age of growing economic disparity and social change, the idea of a taxpayer-funded royal family feels out of sync for many. Public support for the monarchy, once given, is no longer guaranteed. While polls still show significant support for the Queen's role in British society, that sentiment doesn't always extend to the rest of the family. Even within the Commonwealth, where the monarchy once held symbolic sway, there are signs of waning influence. Countries like Barbados have already taken steps to remove the Queen as head of state, and others are openly debating their own futures within the Commonwealth. The monarchy's global role is shrinking, leaving its relevance confined increasingly to the UK. This gradual erosion of influence only adds to the pressure on the royal family to adapt, or risk becoming obsolete. As the fallout from today's announcement begins to unfold, it's worth asking whether this moment will strengthen the monarchy's position or hasten its decline. Can it emerge from this storm with its dignity and purpose intact, or is this the beginning of the end for an institution that has long defined British identity? One thing is certain: the road ahead will not be easy, and the stakes have never been higher. The weight of today's announcement pressed heavily on the minds of those who had long followed the intricate workings of the British monarchy. It was not just the news itself that had people speculating, but the manner and timing of its delivery. The royal family, known for their calculated and often reserved communication style, had chosen a moment of heightened public awareness to reveal something that would undoubtedly ripple across the world. Public perception of the monarchy has always been a delicate balance between reverence and critique, but the events of recent years have tested this equilibrium. The departure of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from their royal roles was one of the most publicized royal shakeups in modern history. Their decision to step back was not just a personal choice, it was a statement that questioned the institution's treatment of its members. Their subsequent interviews, particularly with Oprah Winfrey, painted a vivid and unflattering picture of life within the royal household. Allegations of racial insensitivity, neglect, and isolation brought a new level of scrutiny to the royal family, transforming private grievances into global debates. For many, this marked a turning point. The monarchy, which had long thrived on its image of unity and tradition, now seemed fractured. Prince Harry and Meghan's revelations not only exposed their struggles, but also raised broader questions about the institution's adaptability in a rapidly changing society. Critics argued that the royal family's rigid structure and adherence to tradition were no longer sustainable in a world that valued openness and progress. At the heart of this debate were the younger royals, particularly Prince William and Kate Middleton. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have often been seen as the monarchy's hope for the future, embodying a more modern and relatable image of royal life. Their dedication to mental health advocacy, environmental causes, and early childhood development has garnered widespread praise. However, their increasing prominence has also come with heightened pressure. In many ways, William and Kate have become the faces of a monarchy striving to remain relevant while navigating unprecedented challenges. Amid these tensions, the controversy surrounding Prince Andrew loomed large. Once a respected figure within the royal family, his connections to Jeffrey Epstein and the subsequent allegations of sexual misconduct brought disgrace to the institution. Despite his denials, the damage was done. The Queen's decision to strip him of his royal duties and titles was a rare public acknowledgement of wrongdoing within the family, but it was not enough to silence critics. Prince Andrew's fall from grace served as a stark reminder that even the most privileged members of the royal family were not immune to scandal. Yet scandals alone do not define the challenges faced by the monarchy. The death of Queen Elizabeth II marked the end of an era and left a void that has been difficult to fill. Her unparalleled dedication to duty and her ability to connect with people from all walks of life had made her a beloved figure. In her absence, King Charles III has struggled to step into her shoes. While he has spent decades preparing for the throne, his reign has been met with mixed reactions. His past controversies, including his divorce from Princess Diana and his perceived detachment from the public, have cast a shadow over his leadership. The complexities of succession also play a role in the royal family's current predicament. With William and Kate's rise to prominence, the public has begun to see them as the true future of the monarchy. Their ability to connect with younger generations and address contemporary issues has set them apart. However, this dynamic creates its own set of challenges. Balancing the expectations placed upon them while navigating their private lives requires a level of grace and resilience that few can comprehend. Today's announcement, shrouded in mystery and speculation, seems to be both a reflection of these challenges and a response to them. Some have suggested that it may involve changes to the line of succession, a decision that would undoubtedly spark debate. Others believe it could be a strategic move to address the monarchy's waning influence within the Commonwealth. Whatever the case, the timing suggests an urgency that cannot be ignored. In recent years, the monarchy has faced increasing pressure from Commonwealth nations to modernize or risk becoming obsolete. The decision of countries like Barbados to remove the monarchy as head of state has sparked conversations across the Commonwealth about the relevance of the royal family in a post-colonial world. These debates are not just symbolic, they carry significant political and cultural weight. The loss of these connections would not only diminish the monarchy's global influence, but also challenge its identity as a unifying force. The announcement's timing also coincides with growing calls for transparency and reform within the royal household. From financial accountability to the treatment of staff, the monarchy's inner workings have been under intense scrutiny. Public demand for a more open and accountable institution is louder than ever, and today's statement could be an attempt to address these concerns. If the monarchy hopes to regain public trust, it must demonstrate a willingness to adapt to modern values. As news of the announcement continues to spread, reactions have been predictably polarized. Supporters of the monarchy see it as an opportunity for renewal, a chance to reaffirm its relevance in the 21st century. Critics, however, view it as a desperate attempt to cling to power in the face of declining public support. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, but one thing is clear: the monarchy's future hangs in the balance. For an institution that has survived wars, abdications, and revolutions, the challenges of today may seem surmountable. However, the modern world presents a unique set of obstacles. The rise of social media has amplified every misstep, while increasing awareness of social justice issues has made the public less forgiving of perceived inequalities. The royal family must navigate these complexities with caution, as any miscalculation could have lasting consequences. The echoes of today's announcement will not fade quickly. It marks a moment of reflection not just for the royal family, but for the nation as a whole. What does the monarchy truly represent in a modern society? Can it evolve to meet the demands of a changing world, or is it destined to remain a relic of the past? These are not questions that can be answered easily, but they are ones that must be confronted if the monarchy hopes to endure. The world held its breath as the royal family made their announcement. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the weight of centuries of history had hung in the balance, poised for something monumental. News outlets quickly scrambled to report every detail, but there was a sense of collective confusion. The announcement itself, although brief, felt like a door creaking open to a new, uncharted chapter in the monarchy's long history. What was this all about? And why did it feel like the end of an era was unfolding before our eyes? As the minutes passed, the implications of the announcement began to sink in. The monarchy, already bruised by years of scandal and public division, had made a bold decision that would change the course of its future. The details were still unclear, but it was impossible to ignore the undeniable fact. This was no ordinary statement. The royal family had chosen this moment to address some of the most pressing concerns that had plagued their image for years. And in doing so, they had opened the door to even more questions. The first wave of reactions came swiftly. The media, never one to miss an opportunity, immediately began offering their interpretations. Some saw it as a much-needed step toward reform, a recognition that the monarchy could no longer operate as it had in the past. Others, however, viewed it with skepticism. wondering if this was merely a PR move designed to stave off growing calls for accountability and change. In truth, it was likely a bit of both. But the true impact of this decision would only become clear in the coming days. One of the most striking aspects of the announcement was its timing. The royal family, usually cautious with their words and actions, had opted to make this declaration in the midst of an already turbulent period. For years, the monarchy had struggled to reconcile its traditional image with the modern world. And now, at a time when it was facing multiple crises, they chose to take a stand. Was this a move to regain control of their narrative? Or was it an acknowledgement of the fact that the world had changed and they needed to change with it? The announcement itself raised immediate questions. Was this a gesture of goodwill toward the younger generation of royals like Prince William and Kate Middleton, who had been working to modernize the image of the monarchy? Or was it a response to the increasing pressure from Commonwealth nations, who had begun to question the monarchy's place in a post-colonial world? Perhaps it was both, a calculated response to the mounting pressure from all sides. For many, the most obvious question was whether this announcement would mark a shift in the balance of power within the royal family. The monarchy, after all, had long been defined by a strict hierarchy, with clear lines of succession and a carefully maintained sense of order. But in recent years, the once unquestioned authority of the monarchy had begun to erode. The global spotlight, particularly following the controversies surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, had forced the royal family to confront uncomfortable truths about itself. Today's announcement could be seen as an attempt to solidify its position or, conversely, a tacit admission that the monarchy's role in society needed reimagining. Another crucial aspect of the announcement was its potential impact on the relationship between the royal family and the British public. For decades, the monarchy has operated with a level of detachment from the realities faced by ordinary citizens. But as the country faces mounting challenges, economic uncertainty, social unrest, and growing inequality, the public's expectations of the royal family have shifted. People no longer see the monarchy as a distant institution, but as an integral part of their daily lives, with the power to shape and influence the national conversation. Today's announcement seemed to acknowledge this shift, but it also left many wondering if it was enough to bridge the widening gap between the royal family and the people it represents. What was particularly striking about this announcement was the absence of the Queen. Throughout her reign, Queen Elizabeth II had been the face of the monarchy, a symbol of stability and continuity. But with her passing, the role of King Charles III has been a topic of intense public scrutiny. His reign, though still in its infancy, has been met with a mixture of admiration and skepticism. Many have wondered whether he has the same level of connection with the people as his mother did, and if he can truly lead the monarchy into a new era. His role, too, was now under a microscope, with questions surrounding his ability to command respect in an increasingly diverse and changing world. The announcement itself seemed to recognize this transition. The absence of the Queen was not just felt in the personal sense. It was a reminder of the institution's fragility. For decades, the monarchy had been synonymous with her presence, but now, with Charles at the helm, the monarchy was left to navigate uncharted waters. Was today's statement a sign of change, or was it simply a way to consolidate power in the face of growing instability? The royal family's relationship with the media also played a crucial role in shaping public perception of the announcement. For years, the press had been both a tool and a weapon for the monarchy, used to shape the family's image and protect its secrets. But as the world has grown more connected, the media's role has become far more complex. No longer can the monarchy control the narrative entirely. Every move is scrutinized, every word dissected, and every action interpreted through a lens of public opinion. In this climate, the royal family had little choice but to acknowledge the role of the press, even as they struggled to maintain their image in the face of relentless coverage. Today's announcement was as much about managing the monarchy's image as it was about responding to the challenges it faces. The decision to make such a bold statement, at a time when the family was already under pressure, was not made lightly. But the fact that it was made at all speaks to the urgency with which the royal family is confronting its future. The question now is whether this announcement will be enough to secure the monarchy's position in the modern world, or whether it is merely the beginning of a long, difficult road ahead. The ripple effect of today's announcement will be felt for months, if not years, to come. How will the public respond? Will the monarchy's new direction be embraced, or will it be met with resistance from those who feel that the family's time has passed? These are questions that will shape the future of the royal family, and only time will tell whether today's announcement was a turning point or simply a moment in the ongoing evolution of an institution that has endured for centuries. As the announcement continues to reverberate across the world, the true significance of today's events begins to unfold. What was initially seen as a mere royale update now seems like a pivotal moment in the monarchy's history. People are beginning to ask questions that extend far beyond the content of the statement itself. What does this reveal about the royal family's internal dynamics? How does this decision reflect their understanding of their place in the world? And, perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for the future of the British monarchy? The immediate aftermath of the announcement was a flurry of reactions. Some supportive, others skeptical. While some saw this as a bold and necessary step, others could not shake the feeling that the monarchy was trying too hard to control its narrative. After all, in an age where every action, every word, and every decision is scrutinized through a digital lens, can the royal family really hope to maintain its relevance by merely tweaking its public relations strategy? Or is there something deeper at play here? In many ways, the royal family's decision to make such a significant announcement at this moment is a response to the changing tides in global politics and society. The monarchy, once a symbol of unyielding stability, now finds itself struggling to maintain its relevance in a world that no longer has room for relics of the past. The pressure is mounting for the family to modernize, to prove that they can adapt to the realities of the 21st century. But the question remains, can an institution that has existed for over 1,000 years truly change? And if so, what would that change look like? Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the announcement is its potential to address the growing criticism that the monarchy is out of touch with the needs and desires of the British people. Public opinion has shifted in recent years, with a growing number of people questioning the monarchy's role in a modern democratic society. Many now see the royal family as an outdated symbol of privilege, a reminder of an imperial past that has long since passed. The younger generation in particular seems more inclined to ask difficult questions about the relevance of the monarchy in the 21st century. This shift in public opinion is not without consequence. For the first time in modern history, the monarchy is facing a genuine challenge to its legitimacy. As the world becomes more interconnected, more people are beginning to question whether the monarchy's continued existence is truly in the public's best interest. Some argue that the royal family represents an outdated and undemocratic system, one that stands in stark contrast to the values of equality and fairness that many now hold dear. Others, however, still see the monarchy as a vital part of British identity, a symbol of national unity and continuity in an ever-changing world. In the midst of this uncertainty, today's announcement could be seen as an attempt to secure the monarchy's place in modern Britain. But whether it will be successful remains to be seen. For all the talk of change and reform, the monarchy is still an institution deeply rooted in tradition. It is a family that has built its legacy on the notion of duty, of service, and of sacrifice. But as the world changes, so too must the monarchy. The question is whether it can evolve without losing what makes it unique. There are those within the royal family who have been advocating for change, particularly among the younger generation. Prince William, for example, has long been seen as a figure who represents the future of the monarchy. His efforts to modernize the royal family's image, coupled with his involvement in a wide range of social causes, have earned him respect both within the family and among the public. But even he is not immune to the pressures that come with such a high-profile role. The weight of expectation on his shoulders is immense, and today's announcement will only add to that burden. At the same time, there is a growing recognition within the royal family that they must be more transparent and accountable if they are to survive in the modern age. For years, the monarchy has operated under a veil of secrecy, with little insight into the inner workings of the family. But as the public becomes more vocal in its demand for greater transparency, the royal family is being forced to reconsider its approach. Today's announcement, for all its significance, could be just the beginning of a long process of reform, one that will require the monarchy to be more open and responsive to the concerns of the public. Yet, even as the monarchy moves toward change, there are those who worry that the family is too entrenched in its traditions to ever truly evolve. The weight of centuries of history cannot be easily shaken off, and the royal family's adherence to tradition has long been seen as one of its greatest strengths. But in a world that is constantly changing, can tradition alone be enough to ensure the survival of the monarchy? The challenges it faces are greater than ever, and its ability to adapt will be tested in the coming years. As the public digests the news and begins to form opinions, the royal family finds itself at a crossroads. The path forward is unclear, and the stakes have never been higher. Today's announcement has opened a new chapter in the monarchy's history, but the ultimate question remains: will this be a chapter of renewal and relevance, or one of decline and irrelevance? If the monarchy hopes to endure, it will need to navigate the delicate balance between tradition and progress, between maintaining its historical legacy and adapting to the demands of a modern world. The road ahead will be fraught with challenges, but it is one that the royal family must confront if it hopes to secure its place in the future of Britain and the world. For now, the announcement stands as a symbolic marker in that journey, a moment of reflection that will shape the monarchy's future in ways that are still yet to be understood. As the dust begins to settle from today's monumental announcement, the real question becomes clear: what now? The monarchy has always prided itself on its ability to weather storms, but this moment feels different. It's not just another scandal or another family rift. It's a defining moment for the future of the British royal family. The question of whether the monarchy can survive in its current form, let alone thrive, is no longer an academic debate. It's a real and pressing concern. For centuries, the British monarchy has adapted, sometimes imperceptibly, sometimes dramatically, to the changing times. From the abdication crisis in the 1930s to the challenges of the post-war era, the monarchy has always found a way to navigate through political, social, and cultural shifts. Yet, as we stand at the precipice of the 21st century, the monarchy finds itself in uncharted territory. The world is watching, and the stakes have never been higher. The monarchy's ability to evolve has always been its greatest strength. But with that adaptability comes the realization that change is never easy, especially for an institution that has been built on tradition. It's one thing to announce change, but another entirely to follow through with it, especially when the public is watching so closely. The monarchy has always been a symbol of continuity, a pillar of stability for the nation. But now, as it faces calls for greater transparency, accountability, and modernization, its survival will depend on how well it can balance its traditional image with the demands of a modern world. In many ways, this is the challenge the younger generation of royals must grapple with. Prince William and Kate Middleton, for example, represent the future of the monarchy. Their efforts to engage with the public, address social issues, and modernize the royal image have earned them admiration from many quarters. But they are also inheriting a legacy fraught with challenges. Legacy issues like the scandals surrounding Prince Andrew and the fallout from Harry and Meghan's departure. These scandals have highlighted some of the monarchy's more problematic aspects, leaving the public with a more cynical view of its role in society. How will the monarchy move forward in a world that is more connected and more skeptical than ever before? The days when the royal family could exist as an unchallenged symbol of power and tradition are long gone. Today, the monarchy finds itself under the scrutiny of not just the British public, but the world at large. With the increasing demands for accountability, especially after decades of media manipulation and privacy invasions, the royal family is now facing a critical moment where it must decide how to move forward. The announcement today could be seen as an attempt to shift gears, to reassess what the monarchy represents in the modern world, and to redefine its place in society. But such a shift won't be without its challenges. The royal family is inherently tied to the notion of British identity. For some, the monarchy represents continuity, tradition, and the values of a bygone era. For others, it represents a system of privilege and outdated hierarchies that no longer have a place in a contemporary society. The challenge, then, is how the monarchy can reconcile these opposing views and chart a course that preserves its relevance in the 21st century. Public opinion, too, will play a pivotal role in shaping the monarchy's future. Over the years, the royal family has relied heavily on public support to maintain its position. But with each passing year, the monarchy's grip on public favor seems to slip ever so slightly. The monarchy's relationship with the media has been one of both collaboration and tension, with the press often acting as both a tool for promoting royal events and a weapon for exposing their flaws. The public's increasing desire for transparency, especially when it comes to royal finances, personal lives, and treatment of staff, will be a determining factor in whether the monarchy can retain its legitimacy. What's at stake now is not just the survival of the monarchy, but the survival of its cultural significance. Can the royal family continue to serve as a unifying symbol for the nation, or will it be relegated to the status of a historic institution, one that is no longer seen as relevant or necessary? If the monarchy is to continue to thrive, it must prove that it can adapt to the times without losing its core identity. It must find a way to balance the expectations of a rapidly changing world with the values that have sustained it for over 1,000 years. This is the crossroads at which the monarchy finds itself today. The announcement made earlier was a step, but it is only the beginning. The royal family must now prove its resilience, not just through words but through actions. Its survival will depend on its ability to listen to public sentiment, to adapt to new realities, and to restore the trust that has been eroded in recent years. The road ahead is uncertain and the challenges are great, but the monarchy has faced crises before and emerged stronger. Whether or not it will be able to do so this time remains to be seen. The coming years will reveal whether today's announcement marks a turning point or whether it is simply another chapter in a long and complex history. The royal family's fate, and the fate of the monarchy itself, rests on how well it can navigate this uncertain terrain. If it can find a way to evolve without losing what makes it special, it may yet survive for another generation. If not, this may be the moment when the monarchy, as we know it, begins its slow and inevitable decline. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.